budget, fiscal year 24-25 budget board meeting for the first. Both the rolls. Roll call.
President Rowe.
Here.
Vice President Yeager. Board Member Fox. Here. Board Member Caper.
Here.
And Board Member Mack.
Here.
Approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Aye. We can have public comments and that'll be followed by the public hearing. With comments on the budget. None, then we go to the public hearing. Public hearing is opened on the fiscal year 24-25 budget. Were there any comments, public comments? There being none. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Pass. Now we will call to order the regular board meeting. The roll call votes again.
Sure.
Here.
Vice President Yeager. Board Member Fox. Here. Board Member Caper.
Here.
And Board Member Mack.
Reading of our district vision mission statement. Director 5.
Our mission to challenge all students to achieve their full potential through engaging, responsive educational experiences that inspire innovation, critical thinking, and collaboration. Our vision to develop learners who are competent, compassionate problem solvers. Our operating principles: information for one is information for all. No surprises, verify facts, think ahead, disagree, explain your thinking, then connect.
Thank you. Motion to approve the agenda.
We have one amendment on it. Yep, Bree Brockets, is that your name? Will not be moving to middle school. And Brady Anderson will be transferring to middle school special ed.
Where's
In the
that?
personnel, in the personnel.
In personnel.
Yep.
Personnel
Yep, on the back.
on the back.
Yep, we moved it to-
10D.
Yep. And,
Okay.
yep,
10D. So motion to approve as amended. Make a motion to approve this agenda.
I have one other question. Did we take, we did the Jerry off that finish?
yes, that was in there.
Okay. I noticed it still had like his goal area there, but.
Yeah,
he's
I
not
need to get
presented.
that off. I gotta figure out how to do that.
I mean, not, because he already presented that.
Yep, yep.
Perfect.
Is there a second to?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Public comments for the regular board meeting. There were several names here. Mrs. Fox. We are timing people this time, 3 minutes, and you are responsible for the content of your comments.
Okay, my first.
Yep.
Okay, I'm not gonna go up to the microphone, I'll just stay here. I just wanted to make a statement at tonight's meeting minutes and for the public record about my concern that the action taken Friday did not follow legal procedure, and there should have been a vote and public and conversation in closed session. I had expressed my concern and was told lawyers have been consulted, but I think actions taken moving forward need to be made public per Iowa Code, section 21.5 pertaining to open meetings.
Thank you. Mr. Pitts.
I thought I was signing in as a visitor.
Oh, all right. Mr. Jaden, Scott Jaden.
Yeah, Scott Hayden, and just first of all, I want to thank each of you for running for the school board, and I'm sure it's not an easy job to do. I just wanted to, I guess, comment a little bit on, I didn't really hear any public comments or dissatisfaction with the recent property tax tension, and I'm just here to formally, offer complaint or dissatisfaction with the board for moving in that direction. And I guess I'm trying to educate myself on trying to understand why and how and what other options there are, because from a tax-paying citizen, it seems like bad management decisions oftentimes negatively impact property owners for them. And I feel like it's a pattern, and I don't really know how to fix it. I'm just concerned. So it just seems like the easy thing is always to do is just go to the taxpayer. And if we run a business like that, I can tell you it failed. So we do not want the community district school to fail. we're all in agreement with it. How we make it, how we make it succeed. My kids were swimmers and we were told several years ago, we need to close the pool because it's costing $200,000 a year. Ever since then, the budget's been behind every year. So no matter how much we try to save, we always are behind. And as a business owner, I try not to spend more than make. So if there's a shortfall, we got to find some way to save them. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Scott.
Oh, I just was signing in too. I thought I was signing in.
So, thank you. Anyone else? Next item, Regional Career Center.
Do you need me to pull up the PowerPoint at all?
They have it, you want her to.
Let me go grab my computer.
There we go.
We just kept it nice and simple. Okay, so we just really needed to talk about where are we at with the Regional Career Center, which is a building that's being remodeled and hopefully done within the next couple of weeks. Of the 32 seats that we have 10 out of the 38 or 32 filled. Got 3 filled in advanced manufacturing. Health, we have 2 of them officially filled, 2 are pending. They have to do their writing test for comp. Construction, we have 2 filled, and informational technologies, also 1 pending, so they also have to do the test for comp. NIAC has opened the seats up to other school districts, but they're always going to contact us as a school counselors to make sure that we're okay with other schools taking it. But at this time, I think most schools are in this boat where they don't have all their seats filled either, so they might open it up to outside school districts from their partnerships.
Yeah, I think depending on numbers, this is something that NIAC is kind of monitoring too, because obviously NIAC wants the seats to be filled and they want, students to take advantage of the opportunities that they're being given through both centers. There's one up in Forest City as well. And from what I've heard, there's similar situation going on there. So, that's something that NIAC is actively working on, trying to recruit and, promote the programs that are being offered in both of the centers. And then as well as, since I'm kind of a liaison between NIAC and then also working in Charles City within our district, that's what we're working on too. Just trying to reach out to kids and listening to conversations and seeing what kids are interested in, and then making sure that we're telling them, the opportunities that are available. It's trying to get some more kids interested in participating in the program, so.
And I did receive an email today that they hired somebody for recruiting efforts to help school districts individually and get some more seats and advertise and market. So not sure where that's going to lead. I just got that email today, but we're going to hopefully get some more, or at least get a better idea of what we can do with the seats that we have.
Yeah.
So we've done a variety of things to get the seats filled, but it's really hard. I've sent so many emails, including classroom posts, that it's not even funny anymore. February 6th, we actually had Brian Wogan from NIAC come to speak to our junior and sophomore classes, because incoming juniors and seniors will be allowed to take these classes over at the Regional Career Center. that I think helped our numbers a little bit. It at least got the message out because kids don't read their emails. We found that out pretty clear. The school counselors and then our college and career transition counselor, Sarah, have held individual meetings with students. We've sent out Google Forms, and then we also did a presentation on April 10th. We advertised that, and I only had one family show up. So it's hard to get people to buy into something like this, even though it's a great opportunity in our eyes, and there's a need for these academies, these areas of interest, but we can only do so much kind of right now.
It's new this year.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's still something that I'm not sure everybody, I mean, we see the building going up, but I'm not sure everybody's aware of what's going on in there. So we do have some work to do as far as getting the knowledge out there.
Just kind of basic next steps for me. We're gonna continue to post information, continue to reach out to kids. We're wanting to get some sophomore and junior presentations and tours out at the Regional Career Center, which hopefully that will be done here in a couple weeks. Not sure kind of where we're at right now with that, because the dates that they suggested, we're doing ISAPs this week, and next week we're doing course registrations for the high school. So it's kind of a mess, but hopefully we can get some kids out there here in May.
Yeah. And this is something too that like, the admissions team who's running these tours, for the partner schools, they're aware of the situation here. And so, I know it's been in discussions at NIAC that we're gonna work with, trying to find a time to get the Charles City students into the center, because we have the most seats available to us here. And so it's important to get our kids involved and excited about it and make sure that they know the opportunities that are available to them. So yeah, so that's something that's in the works, and we'll continue to work on that and get kids, and then also hopefully families into the center so that they can see some of the new spaces and the classrooms and the places and the equipment that they're gonna be able to work with. And I think that can help get a lot of kids really excited about it when they're seeing like, oh, this equipment looks really similar to the things that I've seen out on worksite tours, or I know dad works in auto and like I see these tools in his shop, and like I'm gonna be able to do that at the center and learn some of the same things. So
When are they predicting that they'll be completed with the construction and able to be open?
well, they're gonna start doing tours this week and next week. So they're close. But the plan is to have everything completely ready to go by the beginning of the fall semester. So I'm assuming that operations are gonna start happening, midsummer, where we're getting staff in there and, working on various kind of small tidying up things. But yeah, we're really close, so.
And the last slide was just questions, I think. Yeah. So, any further questions?
Yeah, I guess I think it would help once they're open, and if students, say like even over the summer. Somebody, families look at it, students look at it, see what's available, see what they offer. We'll see how that would fit in with their schedule here.
Yeah, and I think that's something that's really doable. NIAC is, we have enough staff that we're really excited to show people the things that we're offering. And so even outside of the tours that are gonna be scheduled up in the next couple weeks, myself and then the two other CCTCs that work in area schools, we work all throughout the summer. And so that's something that we're able to do, to continue some of our outreach to the area schools and, host some of those things. So those conversations have been happening at NIAC. And so I'm sure that, over the summer hours or, between now and the fall, that there will be more opportunities for kids to get into the center and see what's going on in there physically. And then we're gonna just continue to advertise the best that we can and mention it and be, listening to conversations that kids have and trying to pick out the kids that, we think could really benefit from the opportunities. So.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just have a consent agenda. A chance to look over those, and they can make a motion to approve that.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second. Favor aye. Aye. You voted. Motion passes. Committee reports. And the policy committee. We looked over several in the 300 series with administration, 500 series with students. The 300 series, we didn't get to that one. That's people that had to be building use. But the ones that we did do in 300 and 500, there were some minor changes. Well, I don't remember any major changes at all. Yeah.
First reading is tonight, so
Yeah.
if anyone wants to gather on that.
And then I think, yeah, finance committee. Comments on that?
I'll say anything about the finance committee, Jeff.
We met last week. We're gonna meet again next week or this week and just kind of finalize up costs and making sure that we're getting ready to finalize everything. I think we talked about vacation was one of the topics we talked about, paying out vacation as well as costs for IC was another one. I think we kind of have those things all worked out. So I think we're going to talk about those tonight as well. So did I miss anything?
Sounds good to me.
You guys. Administrative director reports. New business, set a date, time, and place for public hearing to amend the fiscal year 24 budget. So we need a date and a time to do that. Is there any
Yep,
suggestion?
it'll be next. 5:30.
May 13th at 5:30.
I'll make a motion to approve setting a public hearing for May 13th at 5:30 PM at Charles City High School Library to amend the fiscal year 24 budget.
Second up.
Any discussion? Favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Date and time is set. Adopt the budget for the 24-25 school year. I want to make a motion to adopt the budget for the 24-25 school year.
I'll make that motion.
Second,
I'll second.
any discussion, further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? Yes. Cement project for the fiscal year 24.
Jerry, just making sure, is this at the high school or the middle school or where?
And Jerry.
Coming up.
Yeah,
Oh, it's coming up. Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is a project that was approved in my annual budget a few months ago. It's a new cement to replace the existing cement between the high school, middle school, around behind where you can come out custodial door where all our dumpsters are. A lot of foot traffic between there and the high school, middle school. We've been wrote up for it for the past 3 years from our insurance inspection. So we finally got it on our budget this year to do it, and we had 2 sealed bids because we're under the threshold that we didn't have to use an engineer. So we had Jets Construction and DeBost concrete through the bids. So full bid was Jet Construction. Jet Construction did all the cement work for the operations complex. So they've done good work for us. So at that time, they'll put in 2 intakes to get the water from back there, because currently what happened, a lot of it, I think back there with the cement, is old cement anyway, but there was no drainage to get the water out of there. So it froze and cracked and froze and cracked. And then they're also going to put 12 bollards around the transformer back there. We have some cement blocks sitting there now, so that'll look a lot nicer when we have baseball games and so forth. So
We're doing something with any of the sewer underneath there.
yes, we need to bring that up. And then at the same time, while that's poured up, we're going to replace the sewer line that comes out of the 600 circle that we had an issue with this last summer. We had to dig up a small section because the line had separated and broke. We started having backup in the FCS room in the high school. So at this time, we're going to pull up all that sewer line from there. So it will be all new sewer line from where it comes out of the 600 circle, and it winds around and goes back into the high school, under the high school, at about between the custodial room and entrance to the 600 circle. So we'll have about 75, 80 foot of new sewer at that time too, and that's part of this project.
Make a motion to approve Jed Construction LLC at $181,800.55 for the cement project in the fiscal year 24 school year.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Fiscal year 25 health insurance plan. This is what this came out of finance committee.
Finance and negotiation.
Negotiations, yes.
Yeah, so I guess the main thing I'll just say about the health insurance is this has been a conversation since at least January of this year. Trying to manage the budget, manage the future budget, also understanding the world of health insurance is not predictable, it's not linear. Even our health insurance guy said that next year it's gonna be probably different. So we tried to work with the staff, we tried to work with the budget, and this is the best we could come up with. And we did just want to appreciate, there was a lot of communication, I guess you could say, of expressing their concerns, and that I know it's not easy, but we do appreciate you guys still reaching out, even though we couldn't find a solution to everybody.
I take it there was a lot of give and take.
There was a lot of give and take, even to the point of looking at different health insurance companies, and I think every option that was presented was exhausted.
So,
I'll make a motion to approve the fiscal year 25 health insurance plan as described.
for a second.
Okay.
Any other questions, discussion? Who are we using? Is it the same companies that we're using this time?
Correct.
Yeah, it's the same. It's faded. It's. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Personnel report.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended personnel report as presented.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Heating system and sewer system. There, thanks.
That's it.
I can't remember how many meetings ago it was, probably about 3 meetings ago. Dr. Schultz mentioned maybe having another firm come and do an evaluation of our heating system or complete heating system, which goes from boiler to hot water to steam, all the pumps and air handlers that run with that. And then as it went, we also looked at adding the sewer system with that and possibly air conditioning some of the high school and what it would take and what our possibilities are there. So we started with an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications. And we had, I think, 5 respond. We narrowed it down to 3. And of those 3, we sent one more request out for some possible pricing ranges. And also some other things on how they would do the project and everything, and make sure that possibly running cameras in the sewer systems will actually see what's going on instead of just doing it off of analysis of age and things like that. So of the 3 that we sent, we received 2 back, KPE and Modus. Both of them are pretty close on cost. So its cost is not much of a factor. Modus seems to have maybe a few more layers of their staff that could help us out with different pricing and things like that. Really, so what the cost to do what we just talked about is to range from 11,000 to 28,000 to give us those estimates. And so what the next step would be, if you want to proceed with it, is decide on which one you'd like to proceed with, and then we sit down and what an RFQ is. It gives you the right then to sit down and talk to them, explain what exactly you'd like, and then they give you a cost, and we talk back and forth on the cost. So you know the range is going to be 11,000 to 28. We'll figure out from there what the final cost would be to do that. So really, it's up to you now on which one you'd like to proceed with, and if we want to proceed, and go from there.
So this is the kitchen thing we were talking about doing, some placing the equipment in there. That's not part of this.
No.
Right? It's
The dietary has a budget that they have, so that's on a separate thing. The only thing that's in the kitchen from this would be looking at how we could air condition the kitchen to help out.
For workplace safety.
Yeah,
And then cafeteria and then music wing.
got the 400 circle.
The den, and then they're looking at the sewers,
Correct.
not the one you're doing, the other.
Yep.
Others.
Yep, because we have cameras one, and I've shared that with both friends. So there's 3 other mains that would run out that they have to look at.
And then the things that you were talking about doing with the bathrooms last meeting are separate also.
Separate from this also, yeah. Yeah,
So this is, I think we're looking at the boiler,
Yep.
keeping that operational,
right.
possibly doing this work.
Yep.
For that.
So really it's looking at the whole HVAC system of the high school.
High school.
Yep.
Yeah. Super.
Yep.
That's an in-depth evaluation of both HVAC system and sewer system.
Correct. So really what the plan is they're gonna come in and they're gonna get right in and I say get dirty and go right over and crawl around and look at crawl spaces, look at the boilers, look at anything that has to do with the heating system or pumps and air handlers and all that. So they'll do different evaluations. They'll do it off of the age of the systems. They'll do it off of how much the systems are used and things like that too. So it's going to be a combination of what you're going to get, and then you come back with a cost range of what it would cost. So you could decide what we want to do in the future. If we want to try to budget each year and pick some up. If we want to do something different, try to do it all at once or.
We'll fund this.
Yeah.
I like to say we're gonna
To,
do this on.
to do this evaluation, I think last time Kelly and I talked, to say they probably have to take it out of to pay for this if we go with it.
Gary, can you, oh, go ahead, David.
It's been something that we've been talking about for years. Goes back to an ICAT in 2012, so 12 years ago. And well, they've had reports, but they've never been acted on. The purpose for me to do this would be to actually have an action plan.
Sure.
We can actually do something productive.
Sure.
That's fiscally responsible.
So the ICATs were in 2012 and again in 2018. And I would say of the ICATs of the whole, they did the whole entire district at that time. We probably have about half of that completed because of cost.
Yeah.
You know, and some things in the high school, but we actually picked like some in each building, and we try to do some in each building every year. Is what we've tried to do. And this is concentrated on the high school because if everyone knows we had the bond that failed the last time, so we need to come up with a plan on how we're going to try to keep the high school going.
So the ICAT is like a forecast based on when things were put in place. And just like, it's based on some mechanical equation of like
Correct.
when things are expected to.
Correct. So what
And then
they-
somebody came in at that time and also kind of saw them, but again,
They come in, they took pictures of all the equipment, it's all in the report, took pictures of all of it, did a walkthrough, asked a lot of questions on, how is the system working, get the exact age of everything, and then there's equations that they do to put together to give you a forecast of how much longer it work, if it's an emergency, if it's a need to be, or if it's a thing that budget in the future. So they really give you like a 3-phase, and then they gave you a high and a low end of what it would cost to do.
and then this would be that same concept. I mean, somebody's gonna come in, look at it, they have to use some sort of equation that they have, and then they come back and say, here's one that might last till or might not last till.
Correct. Probably the only difference between what this is and probably the ICAPS is they might get in a little bit more and look at the system a little bit more by like running the camera through the sewer system. But other than that, they're gonna do the same thing. They'll look at it, they'll take pictures, they'll run the cameras, and then they'll do the same thing with an equation and give you an estimate on how much longer you think the systems will last and what your cost range is gonna be.
To continue to maintain like the boiler.
Right.
That stuff.
Correct.
Any suggestions that they might have as far as preventing these leaks that we have where pipes come together?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Because some of the things that they're gonna do, they're gonna have to sub out to some local contractors. So it doesn't give you anything on, this is what it's been, this is how you're gonna do it and build it and all that. It's gonna be a report to tell us what they suggest we do and, you know, when, how quick we need to do it, and they'll give us a cost range of what it's gonna cost to do it.
So for the HVAC then, for the music room, cafeteria, kitchen.
I can't hear anything.
Sorry. They'll give us information about what it would take to air condition the music wing, music circle, cafeteria, the kitchen, and
Right, and what kind of system to run and,
Right,
and all
right.
that, yeah, right,
But again, it would be done in 24 school year, and then we might not even be able to get financially around to fixing those things until 25, 20, and then we might have new problems by that point.
right, because if we're gonna do it Pebble State, just remember what there is for money at that. So I think last year approximately, I think was approved around 850,000, 900 somewhere around there, and that's usually what we have. For now, in the future, there'll be more, but so then you gotta take that into consideration. Now, for example, here, in the one for air conditioning, the kitchen was around 125,000. To do cafeterias, a range of 130 to 210, and to do the 400 circles around 450 to 700,000. So you look at that too, and look at what we have for money and stuff. So I can do whatever way you want me to go. I'll be more than happy to do it and do it the best for the district. That it's really up to you guys how you want to proceed with it.
Are you able to give your expert opinion?
With that,
Are you able to provide your expert opinion?
on doing this or not?
I guess.
I mean, because
don't-
I just look at it as like, if I take my car to the auto shop, they're not gonna tell me your vehicle is gonna be good in 4 months, 20 days, and 7 minutes. I mean, it's just like,
Right.
you got your vehicle in this year,
Yeah.
this is how many miles you put on it, here's what's gonna happen. I mean, eventually these things don't last forever.
You're never gonna know it. Like I said to some other people, you know, you could have a piece of equipment that's 4 years old and it's gonna break down and all of a sudden you're gonna have a $200,000 repair. I mean,
Right.
you don't know. The cost and the analysis of looking at it and saying it's this many years old and this is what it should last. It's still just an equation.
Right.
So the good thing about this, so I'll sort of give it to you. How's that sound? Because I don't want to be the one.
Yeah, you're the one that sees these, you're the one that
Right.
sees these equipments on a daily basis.
The thing I like about doing it this way is I think they're gonna get a little bit more for us and do a little bit more digging. The reports that we're gonna get are similar to probably what we've gotten in the past. So, I mean, it's really a combination. It's never bad to have more eyes look at it, but then also is it fiscally responsible to do it? So you've got to weigh that out on what's better to do. So,
Can't remember what we decided about those bathrooms. That stuff.
that's what you wanted, for the last, facility committee meeting, you wanted me to get some costs together so we could look at it. So, I sent the facility committee meeting, group today an email, given the things that we discussed at the last meeting, and approximate costs, and then how we can move forward with either Pebble or Save, or we've got to go other options. So it's really this year's budgeted out with the 3 air handlers we're doing on this end of the school building, the cement we're doing, the bus we had to buy. Top of my head, I can't remember what else there was, but there's a couple, 3 other things. We took up the money. Next year, we had some things planned, but we might want to change that focus and start focusing more on the high school and getting it caught up. So, you know, that's where we might be doing, maybe that's when the board says we want to redo all the bathrooms to make them handicapped accessible, to make them modern, to get things, because if you look at the bathrooms, it still has the handles on the faucets that are from 1960s that we put it in. You know, we're maintaining them and keeping them running, but it's still that stock. So to tell you, and that's what I tried to answer was, you asked, you know, when we're going to do those projects. I can't tell you because we've got to pick and choose. We got to make sure that we're keeping the whole district up and running, because we got a lot of buildings that we got to maintain, a lot of ground, and so we got to make sure that we're keeping everything going, so we don't have any other buildings maybe getting the place that this is at right now. So, but really, to answer that question on when we do the bathrooms, if that's what we feel is more important this next year for money, we do it. You know what I mean? Because they average about 20,000 per bathroom. I think it was lower and higher on, but it was an average, right? But that's gotten them all out and making them handicapped accessible and all that.
Coming from the same fund that this would be coming.
They'll be coming from the same fund. So everything that we have that we need to look at, our spending money is from Pebble and Save. So
We've got most of that earmarked until 2020.
except for the 800, 900,000, but yeah, a big amount, yes, correct. So it really is, we want to continue and get another person, our group in here to look and update everything, or?
Well, the other thing I don't want to be hearing is that the boiler's on its last leg, and I don't think it is.
No.
And I don't want to hear that because a leak happened, that we gotta replace everything.
Right.
So it's basically getting tired of that. So I do think that there's probably some way we can look at how do we deal with joints that leak?
Yep.
So that we stop having leaks.
One more year, that'll be all taken care of.
How?
Because there's one more air handler that will be replaced next summer,
Mhm.
and updating the units that are in the science wing and convert them to DX. And that line is completely eliminated because that's a hot water line. And then after we get the 3 this summer, that makes 4 of the 5 will be replaced. And with new air conditioning, so all this end except for 1 unit will be air conditioned now. And then when we do the next one next summer, because we didn't have enough money to do all 4 of them that were left, then that'll be another DX unit. So that takes that off. And at the same time, we're going to convert the units in the science wing to be DX units to get rid of the hot water. Then those lines are eliminated, including the pumps that are in the hallways right out here. There's 2 huge pumps that are above the ceiling out here that every time you shut the boiler off and you start back up, everything shrinks and swells back up. That's when the leaks start in the ceiling. So the leaks that people are seeing right now in the north wing, and there's 1 ceiling tile out, that's from the boiler shutting down because it's getting too hot in the building. And when all the gaskets shrink, and then when you start it back up, they swell back up. When they're shrinking, there's still water in the line. That's what's causing the leak. So we can eliminate those pumps in the ceiling too.
1 year.
Yep, next summer, a year from this summer, we'll be 100% done with the hot water.
And then you'll just have the steam and.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
So I would have loved to do it this summer, but we just didn't have it. So,
Right.
but yeah. So the year before we did 1 unit. This summer we're doing 3 units. So,
Yeah.
Yeah. So to answer your question on that, the fittings and all that, 1 more year. Yeah. And after we had those 2 in a row that happened, that was it. We didn't have any more the rest of the winter. So, but it was a good winter too. So.
Right. Yeah. And that boiler was put in 97, I think it was.
If I remember right, yeah, I know I got that whole sheet that tells the age of every boiler, and I'm pretty sure it's under 97.
So it's
So that one was about 30 years from the original boilers. The nice thing is we've got two boilers. It's a back-to-back system. We run one at a time. So if you look at the age of them, it's really half the age of what they are because they're not running all the time. That's a big difference when you can shut one down, turn one on, and rotate them. If we have an issue with one, we can shut it down, run on the other one.
I've thought when we talked before, at least 10 years.
Yeah, I would feel very comfortable. I would feel very comfortable. Yep. Now Lincoln and Washington has the geo system, but we have to run the boiler when it gets really cold out. It has one boiler. Lincoln's the same way, it has one boiler. If those were older, I'd be a little concerned. They're a little bit newer, so we're okay there yet. I feel comfortable with those.
So you don't think those are an issue? In the kitchen, was there something with the hood or something that we need to do something with?
Yep, and that won't be part of this. That's a thing that we have to do. That fire marshal will come through, and we need an install system in our high school, our kitchen, and also in our Washington kitchen. So we're getting bids on those, but we're pretty sure that will be covered for by the dietary budget. We've got money that can cover that. So it's a standalone, it's not attached to walls, so we think we're gonna be okay in getting that paid through that.
We were gonna do just the kitchen thing. We've got money in some fund for the equipment there, right?
Correct.
And if we wanted to put air conditioning there just for that staff, because it does get pretty darn cold back.
Yeah, with the cooking and everything, it is very long.
And would you need some firm giving you a device or?
Yeah,
recommendations on how to do that?
to put air conditioning in any of the rest of the building besides this end, I'd have to have an engineer design it for us because there's no ductwork, there's no power there, so I'd have to have an engineer design that for it. The reason we can do this end without it, pulling off a unit, putting the unit right back on, we're just replacing it, so we didn't need any engineering with that, plus it's under the engineering price. After 196,000, anything above that, it's required by state that we have an engineer. Some of those won't be that range, but I'm still gonna have to have one because of the ductwork, the power, air exchanges and all that. I'm gonna have to have someone design and do that project.
The other thing we've heard about is the sewer thing that needs to get done. So I guess that's something that needs to get done.
Yeah, at some point.
4 or 5 years from now, more sooner than that, right?
Yeah, at some point, it's hard to say. I'd like to be proactive and get some of it done, like what we're doing when we're tearing up the cement and getting that done.
Right.
We need to do stuff like that as we're doing projects. If it's something we can do while we're doing a project, we need to do it. Biggest concern, and probably our biggest concern on the sewer line that we have is the one that's coming from the art room out through the building, runs down the north hallway, and then it kicks out about 3/4 of the way through the hallway and goes out towards the street. So that one's one we've been having some problems with, but until we put a camera down it and see exactly what's going on, we're not sure what the length of it would be there, our time frame.
To do that kind of thing, you need an engineering firm.
No, to run a camera and see what it is, no, but if we need to replace it, we probably would, and the reason why, because if we're gonna have to replace that, I don't know if we could reline it, I don't know if we can't reline it, it's tearing up flooring to do it, so.
That gets into
Right.
bigger.
The advantage of this RFQ, we can move forward and drop the evaluation of the HVAC or drop the evaluation, because like Modus has already given us prices on their assumption for the HVAC or the air conditioners in the kitchen.
Right,
But we could still use them to do the evaluation of the sewer. They'd be your engineering firm that takes camera images and tells you.
correct. So
You and I have talked a few times, it's a way to whittle it down, if just
So ultimately, it's, if you decide, you gotta decide if you wanna proceed with a company right now to do it, or, you know, what our next step is, and if we proceed with this, we get the firm in that we wanna have, and we talk to them and decide on our price. If we don't do this, then we go back to our facility committee, come up with another plan, and go from there, so now it's really up to you guys which way you'd like to go.
How long would it take to do
The evaluations.
well, yeah, that, and then if you were gonna do the kitchen. Just the kitchen, how would that take?
for the equipment of the air conditioning, would probably be something that we wouldn't be able to do till next summer because of budget reasons. But that's, if that's what we decide is our number one important thing, then that's what we put in the budget.
And do we have to add that other stuff you're saying, fire?
All the fire marshal things, we've got until the end of this summer. So
Like that.
yes, but that's not gonna come out of Pebble or Safe at this time that we know, we're pretty sure it's not.
Like with that sewer example, does it have to be Modus to do it, or could it be a company that you've worked with asked to do the sewer camera stuff?
Yeah, you could pick.
So we wouldn't need to pay like Modus and then have this other company too, it could just be this one
Right.
company to do this.
We can have a local firm that has a camera, run the cameras for us and everything. What we probably have to have someone do is tell us how we're gonna fix it if we see a lot of variations. When we ran the camera for that one that came out of the 600 circle that goes back under the building, we ran into 4 different kinds of sewer piping. So those are the things that I need someone to tell me, how are we gonna fix that? To do it just to get the images and stuff, we can just hire someone to do that.
I don't have, because Modus is kind of like a third party.
They're the evaluators.
Right.
They're actually gonna use. They'll take the pictures, they've already seen some of the pictures you had.
Yeah, because I've shared the camera video from the one so
Have you
far.
ever done anything with this Modus before?
What's that?
Have you ever done anything with this Modus?
We haven't here, but they're very highly recommended. They're a firm that's doing some work here in town, and I've talked to some contractors that work with them, and they're
Catherine, I've used them a couple times when I was at Iowa State. We used them, and then NIAC used them for 2 major capital projects.
I know they're working at the hospital right now too.
I guess what I'm hearing is like, they have on this document that you have attached here, we've got the boilers, piping and air handler, then we've got a separate sewer system topic, then we've got a separate air conditioner in the kitchen. So I mean, can we table this and just have a more, I guess what I'm wondering is like, of the boilers or the sewer system or the kitchen, like, is there one of these areas that are like
Urgent.
more urgent than the other? Can we just hyper focus on one of them rather than dropping $28,000-$30,000 on all of these?
Yep, absolutely. That's what you go back, once you decide what firm you want to talk with, if it's Modus, if it's KTV, then we go back and say, all right, this is what we want you to do. We need to talk price on it. So you can pick and choose whatever you want out of this. We don't have to do it all. We don't have to do any of it. We can do some of it.
That was the nice thing with the RFQ that Jerry recommended, is that we can negotiate by line item. We were able to send this extra email and ask, can you give us ideas per section so that we can do basically so pick and choose if it's worth that evaluation.
So I would like to see this go back to facilities and kind of pinpoint if there's one of these things that are more urgent, and then come back with more specific kind of, rather than all 4 of these things. Because right now, the way I look at it, I'm like, I don't know that we can financially pay for all of these programs or evaluations to be.
We can do that. That's not a problem. You guys,
Make a motion to table this item till next meeting in May 13th.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye? Any opposed?
Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Jerry. NCC mediation. Thank you.
Okay, so to give you a brief update from the last time I was here, we did apply to the NCC conference. We were denied. Their bylaws say that we can, their bylaws say that a school can be admitted to the conference by only 1 dissenting vote of their conference school. They had 2 dissenting against us. Since then, I have reached out to both boys and girls athletic unions, talked to them, gotten some advice from them. I've reached out to every superintendent and AD from each of the NCC schools. All of them got back to me, except for 2. Take a guess.
So we know if it's the same too.
Yes, unofficially, yes. But everybody else was really excited and still wants us to be a part of their conference. However, Since then, did some more, I don't know if you're gonna call it investigation or communication. A neighboring school district actually asked if we would be interested in reviving the NEIC with their involvement. 3 schools said no, they would not show up to a meeting to discuss that. Crestwood, New Hampton, and Walk-On. Also that so we were supposed to potentially have a meeting last Wednesday, the 17th, but those 3 declined coming. So since then, I guess now it is my recommendation, I would need your approval to file a complaint with the Board of Education that we have been excluded from the NCC and have them decide if we were a good fit for them or not. It's very similar, it's the same process, it's a mediation process. Same issue with the NEIC and Waverly not being in the NEIC. So we've been there before, but just on a different name.
You did not meet them, so you have 3 people decline. Have they been accepted to other conferences?
Yes,
And that's all official,
yes.
that's why they,
I mean, it's official as
official
what it
as-
can be.
yeah, but I mean, they're not.
They've
stranded
been
in the middle.
accepted, but. Mhm.
And they're all, are they all going to the same conference?
Yes. So,
So we-
I guess I need your approval if that's the direction we wanna go. If you wanna hear more about different options, I can kind of
When would
explain.
this take effect?
We need to be in a conference for the 25-26 school year. We have the NEIC next school year minus Waverly,
The year after.
and then
that.
the year after, right?
The year after that, it sounds like it's gonna be different anyway.
Well, correct, so at the 25-26 school year, there won't be an NEIC.
So
School court decided where they're going.
No. They really would like us to assist them in finding a conference as well. For instance, we're fairly close enough that if they can get into a conference with us, somewhere that helps ease the gap of the distance for them and somewhere further. That was the avenue that we kind of tried to pursue with the revival of the NEIC. It didn't pan out, like I said. They have applied to the Upper Iowa Conference and they have not heard back yet.
That's the small one, right? Small schools.
Correct. Yeah. Big conference.
Not a big conference.
Big conference, small schools. Or smaller schools. So that would be one of our options as well, to apply to the Upper Iowa with them. Not necessarily with them, sorry, but also. We get into a situation where with the coaches advisory committee that I had, it did not seem like a very wanted or desired direction to go because the schools are a lot smaller. It's not really gonna better our student athletes or our competition. So as a school, as coaches advisory committee, we really all agreed on the NCC, but ultimately I need your permission and your signature to file that complaint.
Make a motion to approve the request to file for admission to the North Central Conference with the Iowa Department of Education.
I'll second.
any further discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I,
Thank you.
Policy reviews, policies, first reading.
it's just first reading, Julie.
No, I think we will. Yeah, this is 300. No. State law. You look at every school district, they're gonna be word for word. This is just an approval of the first reading.
Make a motion to approve the first reading of That's these 300 series and 500 series.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Any opposed? Board comments. Board comments, and we're going to have a closed session. To discuss the superintendent search.
Make a motion to move into closed session per Iowa Code 21.5.
Second.
I'll second.
Favor aye. Take ourselves a few minutes.